Well, where have they all gone? I wanted to film this little operation, and we're one person short, so one person's got to move everything over to the side, take that bottom flat off, load everything on the trailer and the mule, and then haul butt to the field. They're normally done planted everything by then, and they're waiting on you. So I'm gonna have to get going and hopefully film some of this, but I don't know if I can or not.
Well, here we are out in the field. We're getting the transplanter loaded up. I wanted to shoot this short little clip here to try to show you. The wind's kind of bad. As you watch them going down the field, if you ever really need a reason to go see your chiropractor, well, ride this thing for a while. This is the planting of the first 45,000 of the okra plants that went out. We're going to give you a whirlwind tour of some clips here, that this and some other stuff, and let you know what all's going on. But
well, since I left Wednesday to go to Life Skills and teach for a weekend, I took some broccoli and I showed them where they were getting about 3 inches tall. They have harvested about 2/3 of this field. So there goes 300,000 plants. This next section right over here, this next darker section, is some emerald crown, which is about a week or 2 weeks later, later maturing variety. It'll be ready starting about the end of next week. It'll be a lot bigger than what this is and a lot heavier. But they really had the first good going over in second. And as you can see right here by my feet, there's 2 plants here that are just coming on. So there'll be about one more picking out of this field. And I showed you up there at the packing house a bunch of it, and it's been going out of here by the truck and trailer load. So next bunch, I show you the squash and the zucchini, and it'll probably be about picking about time the last cutting of the next variety of broccoli comes in, and the cauliflower starts. Will also be squash and kale at the same, or squash and zucchini coming in at the same time. So we'll head up the barn and show you some other stuff. The strawberry fields are still actually setting blooms and still have green berries, so there's 30 more days of picking strawberries yet. And we got to get this sweet corn moving and the green beans going. That'll be coming up soon, so we'll let you know.
well, here's a quick look at how it comes in off the fields. That's a mule loaded with everything in the back, and we have a bunch of these trailers loaded up with crates full of it. And the whole packing house here will pull leaves, and I think these end up at 22 pounds in a box. That's 22 pounds of 20 pounds of broccoli and 2 pounds for the box, and it goes out of here by the trailer load every day. Well, this is a quick rundown. This is all the zucchinis and squash and golden squash and zeder squash. Then we'll move into a bunch of melons, all the okra. This is the main large field of all the production this year. Pretty much planted up. Pretty much everything's in the ground growing. About is all we can do. Got to get on some of these weeds in the drive aisles. These big rows here are made so we can get in and out of harvesting crates in and out. There's 6 rows in between. Every one of them got a drive row, so it does eat up a bunch of land, but it makes it a whole lot easier to harvest the field. This right here is all the okra going down there. And we're getting to the end of it right here. We're going to hit a bunch of melons that came out good, and some of them did, some of them didn't. They are starting to crawl now. And then we get into Walter sweet corn. He never seems to ever like a plant a whole lot, but this year he kind of went crazy and did nothing but rows of sweet corn from one end all the way down to the other, and he better hope he finds a market for all this sweet corn, because I know we'll never eat it and we'll never sell it locally, so sweet corn at the market just doesn't bring a lot.
Well, here we are at the blackberry plants. We're been studying these things and working on them. Of course, like anything else, it's got the drip irrigation line buried underneath that plastic. We've been working on them pretty hard. That we're glad of the growth. Very consistent, very compact plant. A blackberry plant right now is a 2-year plant. This year, it'll grow all these canes up. Next year, the blossoms will be on this cane and the fruit. And then the new canes for the next year will be growing. It takes 1 year to grow the cane, 1 year to have the fruit on it. So then the next year, after we pick the fruit, all these canes will die off. We'll have to cut them back, and all the new green ones will be coming up. We'll have to save them out. You have to cut all the old canes out. They'll be actually dead. You want them out because of cane borer. And when you cut them, you want to go ahead and cut them and throw them on a trailer and get them out of here and take them somewhere else and burn them, just to keep the cane borers from getting infested in the stand. A little bit more work than anything else, but we're kind of glad we've been managing the P and K. That's the, you have 10-10-10 fertilizer, and that's the middle and the last element. We want a good, consistent growth. We don't want no 4 or 5 foot stems hanging out. We want that whole plant to consistently grow up to that top wire. They'll be 5-6 foot high by the end of the season, and it'll give a real compact, real uniform type plant. Be easier to grow and easier to control. So we'll take you on. This was the first year. Like I said, we planted them out this fall or last winter, and they were set. But the color's fantastic. The stand, I don't know if we lost 2 or 3 plants out of the thousands of them that are planted in this whole thing. So very consistent, very uniform. We've been reading and researching and looking and taking tissue samples on them and giving them pretty much everything they need. The other thing is we sprayed all the woods around here and everything. We got rid of all the natural briars and blackberries because they do carry the disease that get into these plants. So we have been on a campaign for the last 2 years to get rid of all that stuff out of the woods and everything around here. So, but that's part of growing them, and we'll take you along for the ride this summer on this thing and let you know how they all show up.
I thought I'd throw this quick clip in. Farmer Walter on his tractor. He loves doing this stuff, whether he says it or not. He's putting nitrogen on top of all the first batch of sweet corn. He'll grab a set of cultivators and plow the corn and put it in, and then we're going to set overhead irrigation that I showed you in the irrigation video. We'll have that's all set up on top of it, and that'll be about the last time he's in this field until we start pulling corn when it's about head high. So that's it for the sweet corn. This is the first batch of sweet corn. There's another half a dozen fields around.
Just a plain, simple 3 days. That head is 2.5 inches larger than it was before. We'll show you a couple other shots. Well, here we are. We're in the cauliflower field. It's Monday morning. Take a mad stab and say about 25% of this cauliflower is going to get harvested today. Some of the heads are larger than the others, but we don't want it all at one time. So just going down the road, counting every 10 and looking how many will go out. About 25% of them will. And we'll probably try to show you some pictures of the packing house and see just what all we get.
Well, I'm going to let you watch Walter right here fertilize his corn again while I thank you for watching the video. Like I said, any questions, comments, email me. Leave a comment on this thing. Give me a thumbs up. Tell your friends about it. And we'll see you on the next one. And I'm headed back up the mountains to get back to work on some other projects.